Welcome back to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. On today's episode, we have a 23-year-old and a 22-year-old out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania that did 31 deals last year. If they can do it, so can you. So get ready, strap in, check this out. Welcome to the podcast. Marcus Pinchok,
Absolutely.
Jack Henderson. How are you?
Doing
Absolutely
great. How are you, Brent?
Fantastic.
Awesome. So, how old are you guys?
I'm 22.
23.
And how long have you been in real estate?
2 years? 2 years?
I think this will be a full 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you get into it?
Long story. I've always been an entrepreneur. So I've always just like making money online any way I can. So one day, you stumbled down the YouTube rabbit hole, and you run across wholesaling. I want to say Jamil or you were the first two people I ever watched, and then basically, I learned for a while, and then I just started making the calls. It was really bad. It was really bad at first. It took a long time to get a deal, but now we're here.
I got into it because of Jack throughout high school. I always loved working, loved staying productive, active, working jobs, but mainly just did not like the under a boss, having someone a lot higher than me. Then me and Jack have always been best friends. He's like, hey, I'm getting into this thing, wholesaling. I'm wholesaling land. You just call people, find end buyer, but it's all you.
Yeah.
It's virtually, and I'm like, gave it a try. Like I was telling you, a week turned into 2 weeks and a month, and now we do it every single day.
How do you guys know each other?
From, we met in kindergarten, from elementary school, middle school, and on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a while.
Grown up where?
Lower Borough, Pennsylvania.
Right outside,
Right
of
outside
Pittsburgh.
of Pittsburgh, yeah.
Got it.
I always just say Pittsburgh. Someone asked me, just Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so he's always been an entrepreneur?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Me and him always had the same traits. Want to make a lot of money, don't want to work for somebody else. Let's make it happen,
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I like to throw in there the whole time that we're in college, Marcus is sleeping on a deflated air mattress in my 300 square foot studio apartment. So you gotta do what you gotta do.
So wait a second. So you guys were doing some online businesses while going to college?
This is even in high school. I
Okay.
was drop shipping, doing the social media stuff, and then in college, baseball kind of took over.
Okay.
Yeah, but then eventually we found our way to wholesaling.
You played college baseball?
I did, yeah.
Where at?
So first I went to the College of Worcester, played there for 2 years. I went to IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania. I didn't really play there much. I was not in the right headspace to be playing, so
Yeah.
that's when I got into wholesaling.
Headspace because you already were on. You were already focused on being an entrepreneur,
Yes,
or
exactly.
you just
I knew it wasn't for me. I know I'm not going to the major leagues.
right.
And I'm sorry to anyone out there that wants to. Some people, it's for them, but I knew right away. I'm just okay, I'm wasting my time playing baseball when I could be building a future.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sports with me? Well,
Middle
first,
linebacker.
Yeah. Played a week of football. That didn't work out. My main sport, though, in high school, which I'm still good at today, is golf. That was really the only thing I was thinking about with college, but I hate school, hate tests, hate reading, stuff I don't like.
Yeah. Sure.
So right out of high school, I'm let's just start working. I was more let's just make money. I don't need to go to school. I'd really just go to college, honestly, to party.
Yeah. Where were you working?
Right out of high school, it was mainly just two jobs. 2.5 years, worked at a landscaping company local to Pittsburgh, and then a moving company. So then I started really kind of getting into a bunch of houses every single day, and then after that happened, I dislocated my thumb, so I couldn't do either, and that's when it wrapped into, hey, let's do this. You don't need your thumb. You can do this all over the phone. I'm hey, let's get it started. But yeah, no, golf didn't really. I was never I need to go to college and do this. I didn't have parents you need to go to college. Just do whatever makes you happy.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's make money, and that's how that all started.
So then, Jack, you started with vacant land?
Yeah, vacant land. And the best part was the land was actually on the MLS.
Okay.
So I was doing MLS deals. I only did one deal that way. Just, I mean, it's very hard to wholesale land that's literally listed on the market.
Right.
But yeah, that's how I did my first deal.
And then what'd you pivot to?
After that, it was houses.
Right.
The land was attractive because, you don't need to know ARVs, you don't need to know repairs. Pretty like cut and dry, When you get into houses, though, you got to start kind of knowing a little bit more about real estate. So I studied for a good couple months, but then it was just houses.
Studied what?
Binge watching a lot of YouTube,
Got
a
it.
lot of your channel, a lot
Sure.
of Jerry. Yeah, just kind of figuring out, taking notes. How do I talk to these sellers? How do I underwrite? How do I dispo? Like things like that.
What was the toughest part of learning that? When you're speaking to a property owner for the first time, because we've got a lot of people listening that have never, this is a new
Right.
idea, and they've never taken that next step of reaching out to a property owner that they don't know.
Yeah.
So what was kind of like, give them some sharks they're going to have to battle. You know what I mean?
I would probably say that knowing whether it's a deal or not, once you get over the fear of getting on the phone,
Deal or no deal.
then it's just deal or no deal.
Yeah.
But to kind of combat that, you can actually, what I started doing was kind of talking to the buyers, go to the buyers first, reverse wholesale, figure out what they're looking for. That way I can just send it to them and be like, hey, is this a deal or?
So you reach out to investors that are already established in Pittsburgh? Is that where you
Yeah.
were doing it?
Right.
Okay, so how did you find these investors?
Facebook primarily was I think our first house we ever sold was on Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, Facebook groups. I mean, that's where we found a lot of our investors who we work with still today.
Yeah. So Marcus, when you see somebody in a Facebook group, how do you approach them and open up that relationship?
So honestly, like whenever it came to it first, when we had our first deal, make a post, going into other groups, seeing other people drop in their emails, and I would just direct message them like, hey, I saw you commented on so-and-so's post. Are you still buying here? And then that starts the conversation. Like, where are you buying at? What kind of properties do you like? How many do you want to buy? Mm-hmm. And like, hey, can I add you to my list? I'll start like sending you first dibs, just building relationships like that.
I'd say if you're first getting rolling and you're looking in Facebook groups, a great line to hit buyers with is just, hey, listen, I'm just starting out. I like to always be honest. I'm just starting out. I don't really know how to underwrite like extremely well. So if I bring you a deal and give you first dibs, can you just tell me where you need to be at on it?
Beautiful.
And that right there,
It's perfect.
That's how you get your first deal done.
Because you don't want to be sending them junk and ruin the relationship early on because you're
Exactly.
just wasting their time, and they just it puts you on the back foot, you know,
Exactly.
because you're like, oh, here's a bad deal, here's a bad deal. Even if you have a great deal, they're not going to look at it. They're like, oh, there's so many bad deals.
Like, oh, it's Jack again. He's just throwing me another chunk deal. Like,
Right.
You don't want that.
Yeah. So you go in, you tell them you're starting out, you need some help. Are they like, hey, okay, great, bring me deals, but we'll have to split it? Or they're trying to like give you just a little bit
Yeah.
of an assignment fee? Like, what was your experience there?
I think, yeah, a lot of times they're definitely going to try and, like, obviously they're trying to get a good deal. They're trying to make a buck too. That's why you got to be able to know a little bit about what's going on. But for the most part, the investors were always pretty open with me, just wanting to help out. You definitely got to, be careful. There's some bad players in the game, so
Sure.
definitely be careful. Always try to get on a phone call with them if you can.
Right. And so you send them deals and or leads that you talk to a property owner.
Mm-hmm.
They do want to sell. Do you go to these investors and go, hey, what would you pay for this?
I guess like kind of what he was saying, like more starting out. I don't know if I'm just like going to bring them the deal directly, but like, hey, this area of so-and-so town, where do you need to be for a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom that needs a lot of work? Something like that. And they give you a ballpark, see if you can get in there, like with the seller, like you're on the same page, then shoot for a walkthrough, get in there and see if we can make a deal happen.
Got it. So the hardest part was just, is this a deal or not a deal? It wasn't talking to the people. You were fine with that?
I would say once you get over that fear of talking to people, which probably
And you
is,
had you had the fear?
Oh, yeah,
definitely.
I was horrible.
100%.
I was absolutely awful.
What do you mean?
I my one buddy Cole, we were trying to get our buddy into it too, and this is, I guess, is kind of my responsibility because I kind of trained him on it. The first seller he ever talked to answers the phone. She's like, "Hello," he just says like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then she's like, "Good," and then he hung up.
Yeah.
And my first call was very similar to that.
Sure.
I was kind of nervous. But
It's like you don't think someone's actually going to answer their phone when it's like right in their hip and they answer and you don't really know. You're like looking at a script, you're sweating. Then like you master the script and it's just you can have a normal conversation with them. It's all mental and it's a lot more smooth. But I definitely had phone fear as well.
So how do you master the script?
I think just
Repetition.
reps. You got to get your reps in. I think you put a number to it before. You know, you got to talk to a couple thousand homeowners before you should even think about hiring cold caller.
Oh, yeah.
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 So we got our 1,000 reps in pretty early.
Yeah, because
as quick as you can.
It's important to build the skill, right?
Right.
It's important to build the skill of being able to hunt for really great opportunities. And the best opportunities, time in, time out, good market, bad market, flat market, is going to be properties that are not listed on the market.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be. That. I mean, you could ask anybody out there where they get their biggest deals. And maybe there's some that are listed on the market here or there. But for consistent, predictable business, big deals are found off market. You got to reach out to this property owner, see if they would consider an offer.
Yeah, especially
agree.
if you're trying to do big deals on the market. Once that buyer's going to see that property's listed on the market and you're trying to make a $40,000 assignment fee, I mean, they're just going to be like, well, I'm just going to wait till his 10-day inspection's over, and then I'm going to go get it for $40,000 less.
Yep.
Whatever it may be.
Yep. Got it. So who do you guys like calling?
In terms of like cold call lists?
Yeah.
Nowadays, we have our callers really just calling absentee owner data.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't cold called.
Explain to everybody that has no idea what you just said there. What is absentee owner data? What is an absentee owner?
Great question. Absentee owner is just an owner who doesn't live in the house. Usually it's going to be a tired landlord, especially if you set up your filters the right way. You know, they have a couple other properties maybe. They've owned it for 10 years, got some high equity, things of that nature. That's where you're going to find a lot of those tired landlords. Basically, landlords who don't want to deal with the house, the renters, the repairs, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And so you mentioned cold callers. How many do you have? Where'd you find them? What do you pay them? Those type of things.
I think we have now 5 or 6 cold callers.
There's 6 of them, yeah.
Right. We honestly just like a couple websites, really just like at the time finding the cheapest, like looking for like $3.50 an hour ones.
Yeah.
Giving them the script, and we've had them for about, honestly, probably going on a year at this point.
Close to a year at this point, yeah.
Got it.
So,
And it's, I mean, obviously you need to like keep on them, train them, listen to their calls, everything like that to make sure they're not just like wasting a conversation, but they're just really there to bring us a qualified lead for someone that says, I do want to sell. So we're getting out of the cold calling space.
Yeah, got it. And so what's your budget for it total a month?
I think right now, with the dialers, the seats, and everything, somewhere around $4,000.
$4,000 a month.
I
Okay.
would like to say that two or three of the cold callers, we don't pay them hourly. We pay the guy who runs them. We pay them a commission on
Right.
By
every
the
deal
deal.
they get.
Cool.
Yeah.
And 2024, last year, last 12 months, let's go. How many deals did you guys do?
We did. I think today actually we just closed on Woodward. So that's
Yep.
30. That'll make 31 deals.
In a year.
Yep.
31
Part-time.
deals.
I'd like to say it was part time as well.
What do you mean part-time?
So I was in school.
Yeah.
I still am in school. Unfortunately, I got 2 online classes. We had a landscaping company as well that we were doing that for a while.
That takes up a couple days.
Yeah. So I mean, it was part time.
So 31 deal. Who does what?
We're both acquisitions.
Okay, smart. So a lead comes in. It either goes to one of you guys, or you guys. How does that work?
We try
First
to-
come, first serve, or
Yeah, basically. So what happens a lot of times is a lead will come in. Either me or Mark will be on a call with somebody, and we'll just text each other, or just like we use Podio as our CRM. Just tag each other like, hey, you take this one, I'll take this one. Just try to keep it even.
right. And who did more deals though?
Honestly, I feel like it's somewhat even.
Oh, so you did more deals, Jack.
We'll have to do the math. We're both killers, man. We're
Yeah,
both killers.
that's good. Well, and that's critical, right? And so you guys both own the company?
Yeah.
You guys partners in it? Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
partners.
And so what do you see? With 31 deals closed, are you guys, and how many of those came from callers, and how many are you guys still calling yourselves? Or
No.
those all came from your calling team?
No, so I think 12 of them came from cold calling.
Okay.
And the rest of them were inbound. So
Okay.
once we got a solid budget up, we started going inbound right away.
What'd you do?
Start out pay per lead.
Yep.
We're doing lead solo, iSpeed to lead, places like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly how we average deal size on a PPL lead was. I think we averaged like 20, 22 grand versus cold calling. Cold calling in Pittsburgh, I mean, you're getting like 10, 12K spreads.
Mm-hmm. And you're going pay per lead with those nationwide, or there's a few different markets you guys are working, right?
Started nationwide,
And
then we realized, okay, we need a dispo guy if we're going to be doing this nationwide.
Yeah.
So then we kind of honed in on those 3 markets where we can get those bigger spreads. We know some good buyers.
What are the markets?
San Antonio, Houston, obviously Pittsburgh's one of them. Those 3 have actually been majority of the income.
Yeah.
But we threw in Cincinnati,
Ohio, yeah.
Cincinnati and Cleveland as well.
Nice. Where do you get the biggest deals?
Texas.
I would
San
say
Antonio?
San Antonio.
It's a phenomenal
Houston.
market.
San Antonio's been pretty good, but I
Yep.
will say in Pittsburgh we do have the power to take them down
Right.
and just list them. I know this isn't like, definitely don't be getting into this too early, but
Right.
just taking them down, throw some lipstick on it if you even want to, and then just list it back on the MLS.
Awesome.
So that's where we've gotten our biggest spreads at in Pittsburgh, but in terms of assignment fees, yeah, it's primarily San Antonio.
Yeah, let me just speak to the audience real quick that doesn't know what pay per lead is. Pay per lead, there are companies where you can buy leads that are typically either people are searching through Google or Facebook or YouTube videos that have ads. They put their information on a website. You get that information, text it to you, email to you. You get on the phone with them right away.
30 seconds.
And 30 seconds or less. That's right. And start building that relationship. So what is your average cost per those leads in these markets?
I just did the numbers on this.
I love it.
$3,500 is the cost per deal.
Love it. Okay.
Average deal size is right around 20,000.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, listen, I would give 3,500. For us, it's like 6,600 here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Truly, it is.
Yeah.
That's the cost for pretty much all inbound marketing, but for our pay-per-click.
Right.
And we did 81 deals that way. Listen,
Wow.
I'll get, if I could put $1 in and get, right now it's $3.70 back. That's business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is business.
That's how it goes.
For sure.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can run really. I get that over 4. Forget about it. I'm going to buy 7 Cybertrucks. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, because 1 to 4 consistently from inbound is phenomenal. Because the beautiful thing about inbound leads, as you guys probably know, is you only need 15, 20, 25 leads to close. You don't need 50, 70 leads that typically come from text message marketing or cold calling.
Exactly.
Right?
And you got to think
Absolutely.
about, you're at scale right now. So a lot of people may see like a 10x return on, spending 10 grand a month or
Of course.
$5 grand a month. But
Yeah.
it's when you get to scale, you really need to be looking for that 1 to 4. That's, you said it. That's like where you need to be.
Yeah, and a lot of people have to understand this. Your market, and I'd be interested to see your guys' year and the income. But so I've looked at over 200 of the top rhinos that are in the rhino tribe, and that all do over 250,000 plus, and 70 to 75% of income comes in 6 months.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
25, 30% comes in the other 6 months.
Yeah.
So when people go, oh, I'll put 10,000 in and I'll get 100,000 out every month, it does not happen that way.
Right.
Absolutely.
Real estate is streaky. Real estate is seasonal.
I couldn't agree more with that.
Right?
That's 100%.
So
I got
that's
scared.
that's
I
why
got
you
scared.
That's what of course that's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
That's why people change all the time, because they're like, oh, wait a second, oh, nothing's happening. Maybe the market's crashing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And when you have a bad week, a bad month, a bad 6 weeks or whatever, and then you start making all these silly decisions. Just stay the course. Understand 70 to 75% of your income is going to come in your top 6 months.
Right.
Yeah, we thought we were going back to landscaping.
Right.
We really did.
Right.
Just keep on calling.
That's
Keep
it.
calling.
Keep the lead generation the same, and it'll all work out. And when you do have those huge months, don't go blow all that money.
Right.
Right.
Don't go blow all that money, because what happens is in real estate, there's a financial thermostat in life, right? And it's usually set between the time that we're born to 12 years old, right? This is when we're having our families either talking about money or they're not talking about money.
Right.
We can afford it. We can't afford it.
Yeah.
We can't buy those Jordans. We can't afford that meal. We can't go to Disneyland. We can't do these things. Oh, money doesn't grow on trees. All of these things. Or, oh, $1,000 is nothing. $10,000, you know what I mean? It just depends on where what your environment is from 0 to 12. Most people that I find that are true entrepreneurs, which I think is our superpowers, we're very hungry, which usually means that our thermostat is lower than the people that grow up super wealthy or in the upper middle class. And because of that, the issue that we run into is we get a $50,000 wire into our personal bank account.
Mind blown.
It breaks our brains. We're like, oh my gosh. And then we're like, oh, I got to spend all this money. I don't deserve all this money. It needs to go to this and this, or I can afford all these things. And then we make silly decisions.
Right.
Absolutely.
Keep the money. Be around people making way more than you. Making way more than you, and it'll keep it'll increase your financial thermostat. So 1, you feel like you deserve it. 2, you don't make silly mistakes like I did. This is my exact story. I went out and got the big office. I went out and had the ambitions of having thousands of people under my real estate brokerage and flipping team and all this other stuff, and lost it all. Lost it all. And so, if I can just give people my experience, put it into their brain so they just go, all right, yeah, we have 100,000, no problem. Just keep it in there. There's going to be some lean years. Other businesses know this. Air conditioning companies know this. Heating companies know this. Roofing companies know this. There are streaks during the year. Just keep dry powder.
Right.
It's crazy because our first 100K month, when we first hit 6 figures in a month, it was just like, wow, I've never seen this much money before in my life. We learned from you because we're like, all right, let's go get an office. Let's go get something cool. We got $100,000.
Right.
But no, you really, for us personally, we like to have at least 5-6 months marketing set aside.
That's right.
That way we know we're not going out of business.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. And just make sure you are taking the money home, right? You're not just going, oh, let's pay each other $3,000 and then we're going to build up this thing and sell it someday. That's not this business.
Yeah.
Right.
This business is an ATM machine to go out and have excess funds to buy assets.
For sure.
Right?
We need to do a better job of that, but I
Sure.
100% agree with you.
Yeah, because when we started, it's like, oh, we're just two young guys. We don't have kids. We don't have all these other right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have
for sure.
kids, right?
We
don't have
nothing.
other responsibilities. We
Yeah.
don't have like this big overhead in life.
Yeah.
So let's just keep it real low and we'll grow the business. But then you look up 5 years and you haven't bought any assets.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, if you're going to keep your personal income down, great. Go buy assets. Just put it into that. Your business is not the asset. You're not going to sell it. Your business is a means to generate a ton of money.
This makes me want to ask you.
Yeah.
I know you're kind of against rentals, but when you're buying assets, obviously your wholesale business, the cash machine, the ATM, what are you putting it into, if you can say? Yeah.
No, listen, I like buying real estate. I just don't like having a lot of leverage on real estate, which is a little, against what most people think of. But I like the cash flow. If you have a lot of leverage on real estate, you don't have cash flow. And I know that if I buy real estate here, one, I buy them at extreme discounts because I cherry pick the deals that I find.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm already getting an incredible amount. And two, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, where we see 5, 7, 20% appreciation a year. So it's just safe. And I know me personally, if I have the money and I don't understand it, I'm going to waste it. Right?
Yeah.
So I put money into ATM machines, and that was a
Really?
big scam, huge scam,
really?
huge scam. Yeah, you could
My
look
buddies
that
were
up.
getting into that,
Yeah, it was a huge scam. I've put money into Bitcoin, and for me, I like lending the money out. I lend the money out to people in town that have really well-established businesses. I get 12%. I get the fees up front, and it's protected. So I like. When I look at who's the top of the pyramid in finance,
Bank.
it's the bank.
Yeah.
The banks have the best real estate. The banks have they've been around the longest. They're really well established.
Right.
And when you get to the point where you can lend a lot of money, you can go to smaller banks, get their money at 6-7%, lend it out at 12%. Now you have $20 million of somebody else's money to lend out. That's the game I'm playing.
Right.
I like that.
So, but you got to show that you can do that. You got to show a track record. They like that.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
that's the difference. I don't mind rentals. The problem I have is I think that people buy rentals before they pay off their consumer debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have credit card debt at 27%, but you want to go buy a rental property?
It doesn't
Not a
make
smart
sense.
You're paying your car payment that's totally destroying you, and you want to go buy the rent doesn't even cover your car payment.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, you have to get to the point where you have enough cash flow coming in from that to pay any of your debts. I say get rid of your debts, your consumer debts, and buy assets.
Exactly.
But get rid of the consumer debt first.
That's.
But I'm not a
that's-
financial advisor. Live your life.
do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But that's the path me and Marcus are on right now. We're trying to get rid of all that consumer debt.
Yeah.
Then we can go ahead and start buying some assets.
That's right.
Right.
And I think it's smart. Listen, you buy real estate for the long term. People are buying real estate to try to get cash flow to not pay their jobs now. It's not going to happen.
It doesn't work
You're
like
not going to
that.
have enough cash flow.
Yeah.
So that's the thought.
And people always say it's passive,
Yeah.
and we've bought a couple houses, just flipping them and things of that nature. Never even had a real really rental, but it's not passive.
It's passive when you own apartment complexes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why not make a ton of money flipping properties or flipping contracts and then just buy an apartment complex?
Right.
I mean, I get the 4 green houses and one red hotel.
Right.
And maybe you need that. Maybe you need the experience of property management to be able to do that. That's probably smart. But I think that there's other ways that you can put your money into assets that if you don't want to be a property manager. But some people want to be a property manager. Some people want to start out with a little property and do their thing. But not full-time real estate entrepreneurs.
No, it's when you think about having a couple single family rentals, and let's say one tenant leaves and you're out of pocket that mortgage payment, versus you go buy a giant 20 to 50 unit building, you got 5 people gone, you're still cash flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's awesome.
that's where I'm at.
So what are you guys going to do in 2025? You did 31 deals in 24. What does 2025 look like? What do you think? What's the goal?
Let's just double it.
Nice.
I think we
Big
gotta
double
get,
a
I think
guy.
we gotta get to $1 million. That's the goal,
Yeah.
is to get it to $1 million.
Yep.
I guess it's a little over double at this point, but that's the goal for this year.
Awesome. Well, give some advice for people starting out. Give some advice for people that, they're just hearing this for the first time and they're excited. They want to do real estate, but give them like an action item. What would you tell them to go do?
If I would say start right now. Definitely don't wait. And you have a really good term for over analyzing things and not getting started, but
Yep.
really just pick up the phone and just understand you're gonna be bad when you first start. It's not gonna be smooth, but it's one of those things where you just gotta like figure it out as you go.
Yeah, the 3 Ps, right? Perfectionism, paralysis by analysis,
That was it.
and procrastination. Those are the 3 Ps. Those are the ones that kill you, right?
Right.
And if you can recognize what it is, and a lot of people do have paralysis by analysis, but what I see is that's just the fear of talking to strangers.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah, being
Because-
a bit introverted. Yeah,
Because I'm telling you, the people, and I say it all the time, the dumbest people make the most money. And it doesn't mean that they have a low IQ or anything like that. They're just not getting stuck in their own brain trying to come up with a way to do this. They're taking a proven model and then talking to people about real estate and
Yeah.
then making offers.
Right. That's
And
all it is.
They don't care how low they are, and they don't care what the seller's response is. I think that's one thing I got caught up in. Very over analytical kind of person. I'm just like, there's no way they're going to take this offer. It's so low.
Right.
But people like that, they don't care. They're going to say the number.
We can't hallucinate that we know what is best for these sellers.
Right.
That's the problem that we do. And what the stat that stuck out to me, and Steve Trang told me this years ago, was U.S. Census shows 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress at all times, depending on where you live. 6 to 10%.
It's a lot of houses.
There's 143 million residential
Yeah.
properties.
Right.
So that's upwards to 14 million people that are in distress.
Yeah.
All right? People will trade price for speed and convenience.
Absolutely.
They will. They will trade price for speed and convenience. And so That's what we have to focus on. Who is it? It's like that movie Wolf of Wall Street, right? The classic, sell me this pen, sell me this pen, sell me this pen. Well, the whole point of that is how long have people been in the market to buy a pen? You're not trying to convince people to buy the pen. You're trying to go and find the people that have already decided they want to buy a pen.
Right.
Yeah.
You go to find people that have already decided they want to sell their properties. It's not going to be everybody. That's why it's a numbers game.
Exactly.
It's not going to be most people, really.
Right.
It's not going to be 1 in 10. Like, it's
Right.
not going to be most people.
That's right. All right. So just go take action. How about you?
I agree. I mean, with me, it was really just picking up the phone and not like degrading myself. Like, nothing good happened the first day, the first week. I mean, it took us months to even get a single. We'd go on walkthroughs with houses that, like, if you stepped on the floor, you're falling through, and like no one really wants to buy it. But repetition, failing, learning from your mistakes, and just keeping your head up, going until you get that first deal. Then it's over after that.
That's it.
It.
Awesome. How can people get a hold of you guys?
I'd say reach out to me on Instagram.
Okay.
It's Jack D Henderson 31. I'm trying to help more people this year. Honestly, I really want to help more people, especially the younger crowd. Because I know when I was first getting started, I was always looking for a voice. You were that voice for me, but for the younger people, awesome. Reach out to me, help with a deal if you guys need it.
Instagram is first and last name Marcus, Marcus, Pinchok, Pinchok, then just the number 1.
Vernon.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for being on here. Guys, reach out to them. These guys are doing amazing things. They're not overthinking. They're doing the real deals all the time. Incredible. 22, 23 years old.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Jack, Vernon, great to have you.
I really appreciate it, Brent.
See you guys.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on today's show. If you are interested in taking your real estate journey to the next level, go to wholesalinginc.com. Wholesalinginc.com. Apply to join the Rhino Tribe. Check out what it's all about. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call with my team. And that's it for today's podcast episode. I sign off, as always, encouraging you to go out there and talk to people. Love you guys. See you soon.